Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform where we talk with a variety of teachers, entrepreneurs, spiritualists, uplifters, givers, shakers, and serenaders. Everyone has a lesson to learn and a lesson to share. Let's use our life experiences to enrich someone's heart, mind, spirit, and soul. Through sharing our experiences, we can be a learning inspiration for one another. I'm your host, Chris Levens. Let's welcome today's guest. Today's guest is Cathy Nesbitt. Cathy Nesbitt is a health and wellness advocate and founder of Cathy's Crawly Composters, established in 2002. Cathy's Sprouters and Cathy's Laughter Club. She is a multi-award-winning environmental innovator who uses workshops and inspirational speaking to motivate people to live a more sustainable life. Cathy is a certified laughter yoga teacher and was appointed Laughter Ambassador in 2017. Let's give a warm welcome to Cathy Nesbitt. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Woo, woo, woo. Hello, Chris. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, we are happy to have you here. Thank you for being a guest here on Glass Half Full. We appreciate you taking some time out this morning.
Thank you.
Yes, can you tell everybody where you are in the world?
Absolutely. Yes, I am located about an hour outside Toronto in Ontario, Canada. And I'm excited.
And how's the weather today? Is it good weather?
Oh, we got a nice, it's a cool morning, but it's sunny. And in Canada, we have wonderful leaf change in the fall. So our colors are just magnificent: reds, orange, and yellows, just so vibrant. And this year, more vibrant than ever. And I think because we need it.
Oh, yes, right. Definitely. That sounds beautiful. Nice. Well, we're going to jump right on in. I like to ask all of my guests this first question. I believe that our lives are in spiritual design. Can you share your life layout with everyone? Your blueprint, how you grew up, where, family lifestyle?
Absolutely, yes. I grew up in Toronto, largest city in Canada. Although I always felt like a small town girl. So when I moved out of Toronto, that was great. My parents actually divorced. My parents separated when I was 7. And at that time in the 60s, I felt like I was the only one that only had one parent. I probably wasn't, but it's much more common today. One brother. I just kind of had one of those suburban middle class lives. And but it's turned into this magical journey.
Wow.
Well, which I'll share with you soon.
Yes. And so now you're living in the same city that you
No, I've moved out of Toronto in 1993. I moved up to a town called Bradford.
Okay.
It's about an hour out of Toronto.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Nice. And what is your day-to-day life like? What is it that you are involved in? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so my daily life is, I have three main branches to my business: worms, sprouts, and laughter. Simple solutions for today's challenges. Actually, my working title is Cathy Crawly Laughing Bean Queen.
That's cute.
So it's indoor composting with worms. So worms for amending the soil, sprouts for eating, grow your own, and laughter for overall health and wellness. Like 3 really simple things that if everybody did what I do, the world would be a much better place.
Oh, I love that. What is worm composting?
Good, thank you. Worm composting is the same idea as doing composting outside, except it's done in the house with worms. And the worms that we use are red wiggler worms, are the optimum composting worms. There are thousands of different types of worms. Red wigglers are the optimum. So it's really the same again as outdoor composting, the worms require a carbon nitrogen mix. So the carbon that we use, or the bedding, is shredded paper, and the nitrogen is the food scraps from the kitchen. So two kind of waste streams from that we can remove from having to be hauled away. And then the worms convert those two materials into compost or nutrient-rich soil. And it's so beautiful. I really feel like the worms are the original alchemists.
Mm.
You know, like, because they take something that we call garbage, and I say garbage in air quotes because nature really doesn't create garbage. We're the garbage creators.
It's true. You're right. You're right.
You know, so the worms convert this material that we call garbage that we just throw away into something we can add back into the soil so we can grow more nutrient-rich food.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
How in the world? Okay, so in Canada, were you messing around with worms? How did we get to, how did you get to dealing with worms and finding out that this was an innovative way to help out with nature and recycling?
Great question. Thank you, Chris. So, yeah, I was afraid of worms, actually.
Most girls are, not to say it like that, but you know.
Yeah. So before starting my business, and I do a lot of speaking at schools, so I say, not just before starting my business, like, oh, what am I afraid of? I'll have a business in that. You know, it was a journey, like everything. So I think when we pay attention to the signs, we're aware of what our journey is supposed to be.
All right now.
And yeah, and so Toronto, back to Toronto, largest city in Canada. Our landfill, or the landfill for Toronto, closed in 2002.
Okay.
And although Canada is second largest country in the world, we were unable to find a new place to site a new landfill. And at that time, we started to export our garbage to the United States. You ready? 1,000 trucks a week were making the trip from Toronto area to Michigan.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
Wow.
Wow. So how irresponsible, first of all, like, I mean, there's no a way. People are like, oh, we'll just put it at the end of the road and the truck will come along and magically take it away. You know, there is only one environment. And although we have made these borders, you know, that are kind of man-made, you know, structures, you know, the air flows back and forth, the water flows back and forth. There's no separation. And it costs a lot of money for the privilege of exporting our garbage, you can imagine.
I'm sure.
So that's how it came about. I saw a solution. I mean, I saw a big problem, and then I had a solution, which was indoor composting. And it started when I moved. I talked about moving out of Toronto to Bradford, 93. And in 1993, a teacher friend asked me to look after her worm bin for the summer. And I was like, I didn't want to have worms in my house, like many of the listeners probably. And I thought, okay, but I'm from a school that I think we should try things for ourselves, you know, not allow somebody to tell us, oh, you won't like that. So I took on the challenge of the worms in the house. It was a disaster because I would throw the food in and I know, telling all my secrets right here on air. And so I said, I'm never doing this again. You know, I had fruit flies and it was a disaster.
Oh no. Did the worms die? Did they?
No, they did not. No,
Okay.
no. I ended up keeping the worms alive. I mean, that was my mission.
Yeah,
I really
that was the
needed to keep
mission.
them
That was the
alive.
goal. Yes.
And to get the black gold, right? The compost that the worms were producing. So at the end of that summer, I did that. I gave the worms back to my friend. I got the black gold, so beautiful. And I said, I'm never doing this again. I'll just buy worm poo. Fast forward to 2000, I was getting my psych degree. I graduated in 2000. I got a job at a group home working with challenged adults, and they had 10 homes and a farm, and they didn't compost. When I asked them about composting, they said, we don't need the fertilizer because we have cows, meaning they would use the manure on their fields, right? So I said to myself, wow, it was the first time that I realized people don't connect what they're doing. Here they are creating all of this food waste, and then paying a lot of money to get rid of it.
Mm.
Right? Because food waste rots very quickly. At grocery stores, restaurants, universities, anywhere where there's a lot of food waste produced, they need to get rid of it very quickly. So they pay a lot of money for the privilege again of having it hauled away.
Mm-hmm.
This was a wonderful solution. So I said, well, okay. Well, even if you don't want to, if you don't need the fertilizer, you could always sell it as a business.
True. Nice.
Right. Yeah. So I knew they wouldn't be getting worms anytime soon. It was an institution. They'd have to have meetings, figure out if it was a good idea, find the money, all of those things.
Of course,
right?
the whole chain of things before. Yeah, exactly.
Right. How things are decided. So I started to do research into the red wigglers. This was my second introduction. And then I discovered the magic of these worms. They eat half their weight per day in food scraps.
Wow.
They turn garbage into gold. They have 5 hearts each. Every worm has 5 hearts. Wow. It's, and I think, oh, it's so beautiful. And I do a lot of school workshops. And whenever I say about the hearts, someone will ask, why do worms have so many hearts? And I made up this wonderful story about, it's so we can love them a little bit more, when they were giving out body parts millions of years ago, they had this pile of hearts and they're like, what are we going to do with all those hearts? And they said the worms are going to be needed millions of years from now to help with the garbage crisis. So let's give all those extra hearts to the worms so people can love them.
Oh,
because
that's cute. That's cute.
Thank you. I know, not true story, but it's cute. Yeah, it helps people understand. I think we really attach a lot of meaning to words, and the word worm has a lot of negative connotations.
It's so true. So true.
Right? Like computer viruses are often worms. Parasites are often worms. Just, can of worms is a bad, now you've done something bad, you open a can of worms. So this is the challenge with a worm business is the worms. It's the worms. And, I'm meeting people again. I have a psychology degree, so it's fascinating. I love people and I'm fascinated what drives people. And I'm meeting people now as adults who may have been traumatized as children in the schoolyard. Somebody after a rainy day or, a sibling or something chased them around with a worm. And now they're right. Now they don't like worms. And so if you don't like something, you're not looking to that as a solution.
That is so true. Right? You turn it away.
That was a big answer to what is worm composting.
Wow. That is amazing. So you touched a little bit about it, but I want to go into it. You said a compost bin. So is it better to have a worm farm or a compost bin? Maybe people don't even know what the difference between a bin and a farm is. Can you break that down for a little bit for us?
Yeah, absolutely. A worm bin is really a worm farm. As long as you're as long as you're just creating the right environment for the worms, carbon, nitrogen, temperature, moisture, airflow, all of these ingredients, they are living creatures. Your worms are going to be increasing in number. They breed more than rabbits.
Really?
So once, but they're maybe not as cute and cuddly. So that's why they're not the marker for breeding.
Yeah, very true. Right.
Right. So a compost bin, composting is generally done outside. Worm composting can be done inside. And so a worm farm is a compost bin, like a worm bin.
Okay. Which is outside.
Generally outside.
Generally outside. Okay. Generally outside. And how long does it take the worms to compost?
So it's so from setup to harvest. If you had, say just a tote, you were using, a plastic bin to manage your worms. It's about 3 to 5 months from setup to harvest.
Wow.
And you're adding, we'll use a pound of worms for easy math.
Oh my God.
They eat half their weight. So if you had a pound of worms, you'd be feeding 3 to 4 pounds of food waste per week. They're eating the food, they're eating the paper. And you keep on feeding all of that material for 3 to 5 months, and then the worms will convert all the material. Then it's time to harvest or separate the worms from the compost. The
Oh,
easiest,
okay. Okay, I see. So they're going to eat, you're going to dump, basically, you're dumping the garbage on top of them. And
yes,
they're
that's
just
right.
going to go head on and they just eat the time. Are you putting a lid or something on top of it?
There is a lid. Now, the lid is, I used to think the lid was a psychological barrier
Okay.
because the worms don't have bones. They don't have any really structure. They kind of look like a shoelace.
Okay.
Right?
True.
And
Yeah.
so they can get out of any hole. You do need to have holes in your bin for the airflow. It's aerobic process, meaning with oxygen. Um,
Mm.
so, yeah, so you do need to have holes in your bin. The lid keeps the bin dark, so you can keep your bin anywhere. It doesn't need to be in a dark place.
Okay. Wow. And so they're going to
Mm.
consume the garbage. You said paper? Like when you say garbage, you're meaning like, banana peels, um, out like scraps from things that we would be eating and that we would naturally throw out, like onion pieces or even deeper.
Yeah, no, exactly. So the bedding or the carpet is the shredded paper, could be leaves, straw, cardboard.
Okay.
And the nitrogen, yeah, the nitrogen is the food scraps. So you're right, the banana peels, carrot tops. So all of your
Wow.
fruit and veg can go in. Your coffee, tea, cooked pasta and rice.
What?
What's I know what stays out, Chris, is no meat, no dairy, no sauce,
Okay.
no greasy stuff.
Okay.
So the worms are breathing through their skin.
That's right.
They require aerobic conditions. So if it ever smells bad, because you're adding in your rotting food,
Hmm.
so it seems counterintuitive. It's like, how could this not smell? Because it's aerobic. So there's all kinds of wonderful bacteria, beautiful microbial life in a worm bin, or a compost bin, in soil in general. There's all kinds of life
Wow.
that we can't see. It's microscopic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole ecosystem in a worm bin. Um, so all of those materials are working in tandem. They have this wonderful symbiotic relationship. You add in your scraps, they eat it, they turn it into compost, and then you just keep going. It's like the infinity sign. The worms convert the material. You take the compost, you put that back on your gardens. The worms will grow, more nutrient-rich food,
Hmm.
and so we're really solving a lot of problems. I started my business as a waste management tool
Mm-hmm.
and quickly realized that, yes, waste management is huge, but the big benefit is the beautiful soil that the worms are creating.
Wow.
At least in North America, we've really done a beautiful, well, not a beautiful, we've done a lot of damage to our soil
Hmm.
by doing monocropping, meaning we're growing acres and acres and acres of corn or wheat or soy. And that's not how nature intended it. We really, nature grows everything all together. And then
Mm-hmm.
those things help each other. The bugs from one plant will help another plant. And when we look after the soil will look after the plant for us. So now our
That's nice.
fields, yeah, right. It's a beautiful image.
Hmm. It
But
is.
what we've done is we've removed that relationship, and we're growing, say, corn. So just corn. And then we need to add a lot of chemicals to fend off the bugs, because now it doesn't have the natural immunity in the soil.
Oh,
And
okay.
it really, I think it really has, I use a lot of metaphors with the worms to our life. If we ate like worms, not that I'm suggesting we eat rotting food, but if we ate, you know, we ate the fiber like in paper, not eating paper, but eating more fiber, we'd be more regular. And if we
Mhm.
ate more vegetables and fruit, we'd just be healthier people. It's just fascinating to me how the worms are really creating this way for us to live.
Mm.
And worms don't have any shell. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here,
No,
but
go. You go,
you
Cathy.
know,
Go.
I feel like the worms, there they are. They're literally beneath our feet. A solution that's been waiting there millions of years, and it's right there.
Hmm.
We kind of know more about the stars and the ocean than we do about where our food grows.
It's so true. Amen on that.
Mm,
It's a shame, but you're right. It's true. It's true.
yeah.
I love that symbolization. Like they are right under our feet and have been here. But that is always the case when, we're always looking for solutions. It's always just under your nose, right? It's just there. We've seen it so many times, walked past it, moved over it, moved it out of the way. And in reality, it has been this. Oh, I love it. I love it. Wow.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Jump. You take it back over.
Yeah. So yeah. So I feel like I'm an empath. I'm very sensitive, super sensitive. Was always, as a young girl, was told stop crying. The world's a harsh place. Grow a thicker skin. All those things. And now I'm embracing that. I'm really taking that on. I do a lot of workshops again in schools, and I'm meeting particularly young girls who might come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sensitive. I need to grow a thicker skin," like the things that I was told. And I say to them, "Thank you for sharing. Please never say that again." Because what I really understand is, what does it mean? And I say this to these young girls: what does it mean to be sensitive? It means you care. What does it mean that you're too sensitive? Oh, you care too much. Imagine if we had a world where people cared too much. Wow. Like, wouldn't that be a beautiful place rather than where we have all these, you know, um, all these facades up that we're so tough and we're
So
so,
true.
like if we could just let down our guard and just let people see the real us,
Hmm.
we would connect on a much deeper level.
So true. 100%. A
Mm,
100%. We've been conditioned to be certain ways or act certain ways. And, with that, people lose who they really are within that. So
yeah.
that's
By trying to
interesting.
fit into a mold that society has created for us.
Hmm. So true.
Create your own mold. Be a worm farmer.
Yes, right? Hey. I love that. I love that. So can you tell us what is dose and why should we have a daily helping?
Oh, yes. Now we're jumping over to laughter yoga. I
Yes,
love it.
we're gonna jump all in between. Just
I love it, Chris. This is beautiful. This is my kind of conversation.
oh, awesome! Thank you.
Ever heard that laughter's the best medicine?
I have. I sure have,
Right?
and it is good.
Absolutely. It's a global, or it's a universal expression, and it's the truth. My next question is, have you had your daily dose? So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. So these are the love drugs. And as soon as we smile, we start secreting the love drugs. We send a note to our brain, hey, I must be happy, I'm smiling. And then we add a giggle, ha ha ha. We start secreting more, pew, pew, pew. Versus cortisol when we're stressed. And just a little bit about our beautiful brain. It hasn't really evolved. The amygdala is the stress center in the brain, and it has not evolved since, well, ever. So as
Wow.
soon as we get into stress, our brain thinks that we are in imminent danger, and we're not. We're not necessarily, well, rarely are we, going to die from something. I mean, I know this time that we're in is kind of cuckoo, but
True.
so I'll just say, like losing your keys. Have you ever lost your keys and you're flapping around like, I gotta go, I lost my keys.
Hmm.
Now, you're probably not in imminent danger if you've lost your keys, but your body acts as if you have, like as if you are, right? So you're
True.
secreting cortisol. You start going into fight, flight, or freeze.
True.
Your brain's not getting oxygenated. So yeah, so that's why we need to have our daily dose. So laughter yoga was started in 1995 by a medical doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria, and his goal is world peace. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
Ah, oh, what a beautiful, like it's, whenever I say that, I just think, my goodness, what a great mission. And I'm happy to be on the bandwagon.
I love that.
There are laughter clubs around the world, 120 or over 120 countries now.
Really?
Japan has a huge laughter yoga movement.
What?
Yes, Japan. Check it out.
I sure will.
I will send you this beautiful video once we're offline about from a laughter yogi in Japan, and it talks about laughter and the history of Japan and the laughing people in Japan.
Oh, wow. Yes, please.
Yeah, I will. So a laughter yoga session, it's not about jokes or comedy, because jokes are cultural, often about somebody. So for that person, it's not funny. So the laughter yoga is not doing yoga and laughing. It's gentle movement or stretches. It's a cardiovascular workout, deep diaphragmatic breathing. Our diaphragm is connected to all of our organs. So when we're laughing, it's like internal jogging. And you can't just ha, 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 because you're expelling. At a certain point, you have to take a nice deep breath in so that you can continue ha-haing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so as the laughter teacher, a laughter yoga session is either 30 or 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You start again with some gentle warm-up, some deep breathing, gentle movement, and it's making eye contact and connecting. So before 2020, there were some classes online, but it really was in person. We did Laughter Club in person. But 2020, as we know, March 2020, everything shut down, and the world came to a standstill. Mm-hmm. And laughter yogis were primed for this time. We were ready to jump online, and nice. Now you can laugh almost 24/7 anywhere in the world. Online in Zoom clubs. There's actually an international calendar showing all of the clubs, and they're free.
Oh my gosh.
Right? I know it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And during this past 2 years, I've taken a real deep dive into laughter yoga and the benefits. And I'm just blown away by this simple thing that's in all of us. It's waiting to burst out, in fact. But over the years, laughter has been suppressed because you can't control people when they're laughing full on. Imagine a group of people all laughing together. And now you want to start your meeting. Okay, places, everyone take your places. Everyone, no one can even hear you.
It's true.
And when we're laughing, it's not even a very good survival strategy, because when we're laughing full on, our knees get weak.
Yes.
When we're right, when we're really laughing.
It's true.
So it's not a very good so why I said that is because we can only laugh full on when we feel safe.
Wow.
Right? So when we're in a safe environment, when we're comfortable with the people we're with, that's when we feel comfortable enough to laugh full on. Wow. Fascinating.
Yes, I never thought about it that way, but you're right. Now I think about when, I'm bellied over and, the tears are running down, like, yeah, you're right. It's with people who I feel are safe, or the environment is a safe place. Because you're really exposed. You're really exposing yourself. It's like you're really releasing. Wow.
And releasing, thank you. You are completely releasing. Sometimes, people may laugh in inappropriate situations. It kind of just bursts out, and then you can't rein it back in because it's being released. Mm-hmm. And I like to compare it to, say, a pressure cooker. Do people still have those?
Oh, yes, they do.
Or a volcano where the lava's building up, and then all of a sudden, it spews out the top. That's what happens. So I'll use a funeral. Maybe it's inappropriate. You're feeling quite sad. And then all of a sudden something happens where you think it's just really funny. You have a memory of that person, or just something triggers you and you start laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems inappropriate, just because our society has deemed it so. But really, it's a wonderful release where we can start laughing and then just get connected, just be like, oh, thank goodness. And once somebody starts laughing, it often will ripple out. It is contagious in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually talking on a podcast, and I mentioned that story, and the woman that I was talking to, um, she had 5 brothers, one had passed, and she said they were all standing around the casket, and something happened. So they had a memory of their sibling, and they all burst out laughing, and they just had this
Oh,
giggle
that's
fit.
awesome.
Yeah, well, yes, it was, until one of the aunties came up, and she said they were just in this laughter bubble. It felt so beautiful. It was like they were in a room by themselves. The siblings were all laughing. And then an auntie came up and was like, ahem.
Don't forget where you guys, like, we're in the middle of a funeral here.
Right. And kind of like, was like, it's not appropriate. And she said at that moment, it kind of just burst their bubble, and they, like they came tumbling down to the ground and were brought back to reality. But for that moment, they were free.
Yes.
And they totally forgot about the pain of losing their sibling. I was like, it was such a beautiful, just part of the conversation where, yeah, I think everybody can relate to laughing at inappropriate times.
It's true. And I mean, that particular story is very dear to my heart, because we as well have had something similar of that. And the laughter takes you right out of the pain that you might be in. For that moment, you are captivated in a bubble. And for that moment, you're not thinking about, the heartache that you might be really going through. So yeah, no one's ever said it out loud, but I think maybe everybody has done some type of laughter in an inappropriate place, not meaning for what's happening on the scene, but something else might be going on inside that just happens to be heard coming out. So nice. Very
yeah,
nice.
It could be like a religious, a church or synagogue or temple where everyone's quiet, and then all of a sudden something funny and you can't stop laughing.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
I love that. I wanted to ask you, I know you like gardening. And I wanted you to just describe the feeling that comes over you while you're working in your garden. What is it that you feel when you're out there? How does it make you feel when you leave it after you're finished? How do you feel? Tell us about it.
Yeah, gardening is one of those beautiful activities. There's a thing called earthing, which is being connected. You could be barefoot, or having your hands in the soil without gloves.
Nice.
And yeah, when you're connected to the earth, or when you're earthing, you really are connected to the earth's energy. And I feel so peaceful, so grateful. I'm overwhelmed with awe when I'm in the garden. I just think that nature is an amazing, it's just a magic process where, again, all these invisible things taking place. I mean, not invisible, they're microscopic. We just can't see them with our naked eye. And there actually are antidepressant microbes in the soil. Really? So gardeners really are a happy, I know, gardeners really are a happy lot, but you need to be exposed. So I know people like wearing gloves and wearing shoes, but I often will garden barefoot. It's okay. I'll wash my feet before I come in.
And if you don't, that's your house, right? You could do what you want.
Good point. Yes, that's right.
Yes, no problem.
So how do I feel? I'm just in awe. I love going out to the garden. I love watching I get distracted easily by colorful bugs. Or,
that's cute.
I'll lift up a rock and find, pill bugs or sow bugs, or a worm will squirm away. And I'm just in awe. Um, I can spend hours just watching a spider spinning a web.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I feel like when I'm in the garden, I'm completely at peace. I'm at one with the garden. I'm just there. Gardeners are a hopeful lot. We plant seeds and then and then we just cross our fingers and hope that first of all that the seed's viable, that the rains will come, that the sun will shine,
Mm-hmm.
and that plant will grow into something magnificent.
Well, I tell you, the gardeners, and it does grow into something magnificent, definitely.
Mm.
What advice would you give for people who really love gardens, but they say, I don't have a green thumb, or I don't, I'm not, my plants always die. Do you have any advice that you could give for people who, is there a certain type of plant you recommend, or where they should start?
Yeah, I would say if you're plant like it is, that's kind of a different question. So if you're planting house plants, then go with ones that are really easy. I mean, you can certainly get a cactus. They don't even need any help. There are some really simple plants, and often either the issue is too much love or not enough love. And I know that's like,
That's
oh, that
so
covers
cute.
everything.
I love it. I love that. It's true. Overwatering or not watering enough, right? It's like,
yeah, right. That's what I was going to say. Either too much, right? We're like, oh, I got to water them. It feels dry. But some plants, like, Google is a wonderful place that you can look at these plants, right? You can go if you want to have like a spider plant, which they're really simple,
Mhm.
but just see what the conditions they need, like what kind of window you have, or if you're planting out in the garden, what I say is you need to look after the soil. So make sure that your soil is really viable. And it's a building process. People think you just need to put, I would say if you can, stay away from chemical fertilizers, because that's just destroying more of your biology in the soil. That's not feeding the soil, that's feeding the plant.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that advice.
Right. So that's not doing anything for future plants. That's doing only for that one crop.
Wow. So true. I didn't even think so deeply about it, but thank you for that tip. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Nice. So let me ask you, what has been your greatest awakening?
Oh, my greatest awakening. There's been a few. I would say it has to do with the laughter. And I was introduced to laughter yoga in 2012 when one more person, I'd been in my worm business for 10 years. It's the 20th anniversary this year, Chris, of my worm business. 20 years selling worms by the pound.
Yes, Cathy, congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I have diverted several tons from landfill, and every time I sell worms, my clients are diverting from landfill as well. So it's really a magnificent ripple effect that I've had with my worms. So when people would say to me, "Ew, worms in the house," I didn't even hear it until 2012. 2012, one more person said to me, "Ew, worms in the house," and it hit my heart. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Why do I care so much? I really was questioning everything about what I'd been doing. And I was introduced to laughter yoga. And laughter yoga changed my life. It helped me to stay in my worm business because I became more resilient. I understood that people saying ooh, they weren't saying ooh about me. They weren't saying ooh about even what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Right? They were saying ooh because they had an experience with worms before. That was not even my issue. It's not even about me.
Very true.
Right? So laughter yoga really helped me to become more resilient, to understand that we all have our things, and just to I'm going to say resilient again, get out of stress. And so fast forward to 2020, then the pandemic hit. I'm a people person. I need people. I'm an extrovert. I love people. I love connecting. Before 2020, I was doing between 100 and 200 events a year.
Wow.
Speaking, workshops, exhibiting. I'm high energy, so it was all good. And then everything came to a halt.
Oh no.
And, like everyone, I was wandering around like a caged lion, like what's happening here? I'm trapped in my house and I don't know what's going on. So I started my laughter club in June 2020. I have a free online laughter club. It's 9:30 every Tuesday on Zoom, 30 minutes Eastern time, 30 minutes of super fun self-care. And during my laughter club, I realized, wow, this is helping me so much. So my greatest awakening was the magic of this simple thing called laughter, which is waiting in us all to burst out. We get to secrete the love drugs. It oxygenates our body, boosts our immunity. We have greater connections. Our creativity is opened. Because again, back to stress, when we're stressed, we're not breathing properly. Mm-hmm. Our brain's not getting oxygen. So we can't possibly come up with solution when we're under stress. When we're in stress, that's where we are. And we need to get out of stress in order to move forward. In order to heal, in order to do anything, we have to get out of stress first.
I love that.
And laughter is the fastest happiness hack.
Yes, you're right. It's true. It's true. So in the laughter club, what happens in that time? What do you all do?
Yeah, so as a laughter teacher, again, during this past 2 years, I mentioned diving deep into laughter and healing modalities. Mm-hmm. So the past 2 years, I have spent in so many summits for about the body, lymphatic summits, brain summits, all these. There's a summit for everything. And I glean that information, and I feel like my superpower is attending those summits, getting the information that's required, so then I can pass it on in lay terms. In my laughter club, as a laughter teacher, I incorporate tapping, emotional freedom technique, brain gym, and other healing modalities. Oh, wow. Because I want to help people get out of stress. Because when you're in stress, that's where you are. So during my session, I do, we do the deep diaphragmatic breathing. We're smiling, we're clapping, we're chanting, chanting, the chant is ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Because when we say ho and we say ha, if you put your hands on your belly and you say ho, you're moving your diaphragm. So that's, so we have a heart to pump our blood. We have another fluid in our body called lymphatic fluid, and lymph only moves when we move. And we're sitting a lot. We're very stationary today. We're sedentary people. So true. Right? So laughter moves our diaphragm. Right? When we're laughing, ha ha ha. So our diaphragm is moving, so our lymph is moving. And so I incorporate the tapping, brain gym, and I do a lymph massage. So the 30 minutes is jam-packed with healing tips and tricks to sleep better, just to get into joy. And it's not about happiness. I would love to talk about the difference between joy and happiness. Okay. Happiness is generally conditional. Mm-hmm. So I'll be happy when I get that job, or I'll be happy when I pay my mortgage. I'll be happy when I finish university, and then maybe we're happy for a moment. And then it's like, okay, next. Oh, now I'll be happy when I get that car, or I'll be happy when I get the girl or the guy. Mm-hmm. Right? Where joy is not conditional. It's just like, you can be joyful wherever you are in your life. You can decide to be joyful, and it's kind of attached to gratitude. Yeah, I was about to say, because when you're great, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You touched on it, please.
Yeah, it's really about like when we're grateful, and it's a huge piece of joy and happiness. When we're grateful, then more stuff can come. It's like, I maybe don't have, all the money in the world that I would like, but I sure have enough. I have more than enough. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure grateful for my health. I'm grateful for where I live in the world. I'm grateful for so many things. And then when you're grateful, it just kind of for me, it makes my heart sing. Mm-hmm. And then I just feel like, I can look up rather than looking down.
Yes.
And talking about that, in today's society, we have um, cell phones. I don't happen to have a cell phone. I
Oh,
still am attached. I know I'm still attached to the wall. It's fine.
no,
Um,
that's hey, So, and when you say that, you mean that you have not had a cell phone or you've never had a cell phone?
correct.
Wow.
Correct.
Now that is because some people feel like I've had it and then I decided not to have it. So the fact that you've never had one, wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
Well, I don't, it is what it is. It is. It's part of my brand, as I have an environmental business.
Hmm.
And, oh gosh, it was like 2009. I was doing a local cable show and I was the local environmental expert. So every month I would go on the show and I would talk about some other, a new environmental piece.
Hmm.
One month I talked about cell phones, 2009, so before all the smart technology. And I read that in 2009, 549,000 cell phones were discarded daily in the US alone.
What?
500,000 cell phones in 2009. So I can only imagine how many today are discarded every day. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So I said to myself, I don't need to be like, it doesn't need to be 5,000, whatever, 549,001. I can do my part. And I know it's like, oh, it doesn't make a difference. It really does. And we go to the hummingbird. The hummingbird's like, how can you make a difference? There's an old an old fable about there was a forest fire and all the animals were running away, and there was a hummingbird going to a pond and getting water and then dropping it on the fire, and the animal saying, what are you doing, hummingbird? You can't make a difference. And he said, I'm doing the best I can.
Mm, yeah.
That's what we can do. So that's what I'm doing. So back to the cell phone. Okay, it wasn't about me not having a cell phone. But why I said that was because when people are on their cell phone, we actually have the physiology of depression because we're looking down.
Uh-oh, break
Our
it
neck
down.
is
Mm-hmm.
right. Our neck has candy cane. Our neck is like looking down. So we have like candy cane neck.
I've never heard it called that, but I love it. Candy cane neck. Yes.
Right. So even if we're looking at something funny or someone sent us a funny something,
Mm-hmm.
so we're laughing, but we're also secreting stress chemicals because we're looking down. So we're sending a signal to our brain that I must be sad because I'm looking down. But oh, I'm smiling, so maybe I'm happy. Oh, what's happening here?
Mm.
So we're sending mixed messages to our brain. I really would love somebody. We have selfie sticks, so people can take just the proper little selfie thing, right?
Yes.
So I think if somebody could just come up with some kind of harness or something, we're not going to get rid of technology. It's here. It's fine. It's a great thing. We need someone to come up with something so there's a harness so we can have our neck and our spine can be straight when we're on our technology.
Hmm. I just say raise the hand up. I always tell the kids that, how can you be looking at your phone walking up the stairs? You know what I mean? Or in these certain movements where we're moving in, there's a lot of people here in Tokyo. So I'm always
Mm,
surprised about that. And I just tell the kids, well, just bring your hand up to your face
mm,
and then you can see
yeah.
what's in front of you and you can still see the phone. And
Mm.
everybody's just like, looks at me like, huh? It's like, yeah, I agree. The whole looking down thing, and yeah, it's just not. It's
There's
not
a
good.
really great documentary called "You Are What You Act" by Albert Nuremberg. It
Mm.
was 2018 Hot Docs film, and I believe it's well. Anyway, you can look for that. But they talk about this very phenomenon. He talked about Tom Cruise doing acts of heroism in his real life because he did his own stunts in movies, so it was in his DNA.
Mm.
So, on the opposite side of that, if somebody's acting as a depressed person for a part, after 6 months, when the movie's finished, now that person is depressed because they've been acting depressed for 6 months.
Wow.
And so that's why I was like, again, without the cell phone, I see things that people don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have different skills than other people, because I need to know how to read a paper map and
You know, it's so true. The simple things, people like a map. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm like, longitude, latitude. Like, you find they no clue, no clue.
no clue. I do school workshops, and I was in a grade 12 class. And when I talked about not having a cell phone, I'm not sure why, but I said, when the grid goes down, people are going to come to me for directions because I know how to read a map. And one of the young men said to me, I've never seen a paper map. And
Oh,
I said, you've never seen
wow.
a paper map? Wow. I said, you need to go to a gas station, pick up a paper map, learn how to read it, and then you'll have a superpower when the grid goes down and your friends will come to you.
So true. Wow. That sounds like, whoa. Okay. Yeah, this
Just like the
generation
phone
without their
book. It's like,
phone.
what's a phone book?
I know. What's a phone book? No longer phone booth, but actually put some coins into the rotary style phone too. Now, I'm guessing you have a push button. Or
I have a push button, yes.
okay, just seeing how far we were going back now, because I know about the rotary dial, sticking the finger in and going around the circle. Yes.
Oh no, wrong number.
Oh my gosh, it's the worst, right? With the long cord that like twisted up. Yes, for sure.
How about
Oh.
the what was it called? The community line where you didn't even have your own phone, it would just ring a certain way. That's before my time, by the way.
That's hilarious. Yes, there's time has come. Technology is definitely here. So I agree. We need to make some better arrangements to make things a little better for lifting up that phone a little bit, for sure. I wanted to ask you, if you had a tagline, what would it be?
My tagline would be laugh every day for the health of it.
Oh, that's nice. That's t-shirt worthy, Cathy. Girl, somebody gonna get it. Don't go out there and try to make that t-shirt. Cathy, that is t-shirt worthy right there. I love it. Can you say it one more time?
Laugh every day for the health of it.
For the health of it. I love it. Oh, that little twist into it. Nice. Nice. Is this something that you normally say? Or did you just come up with it in the moment?
I have been saying that. I have been suggesting that people laugh every day, because it
I
seems
love
so
that.
simple. It does seem so simple, and people are like, oh yeah, I laugh all the time. Oh, I watch comedies all the time. I go to the comedy club. Those are all conditional laughter things.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to a comedy club and do your laughter yoga, which is laughing full on for 10 to 15 minutes, where you're really getting your cardiovascular. Because if you're laughing, you're going to miss the next line. You're going to get kicked out of the laughter club if you're out of the comedy club if you're laughing for too long and too loud.
That is true. You're right. You're right.
And you can't just laugh on the corner because people will think that there's something wrong with you.
Look, that happens. Well, I always laugh. I'm laughing at myself. I live alone, and so it's if anyone's walking by, they probably think like, oh, it's a bunch of people in there, because I'll just bust out laughing. I'll think of something and I will go in. I'm holding onto a chair, bent over, cracking up about something. So I laugh out loud just with me. I don't need to. I mean, it's great with other people, but it doesn't stop the show here. Sure.
That's awesome, Chris. That's so beautiful. Yeah, we don't need a club, but it is challenging to get, the benefit of the 10 to 15 minutes laughing on your
No,
own.
I think the club is wonderful. It's a great idea as well, because some people don't even know how to just release, and it's another way of showing people how to release. And so the idea is really so great. I was like, wow.
It's so beautiful. It really is a wonderful thing. Like it's helped people with different addictions, because again, back to the dose. Sometimes we might have different addictions, drugs, alcohol, sex, food, whatever it is, to get those chemical hits, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, when we could just laugh. How beautiful.
Yes.
So there's research around the world, but there's wonderful studies. Oh my gosh, there was one in Mexico. They were working with young men, maybe they made a silly mistake and now they're incarcerated, at 18.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're hardened criminals. And so it was a 30-day study. And they took, every day they did laughter. So they took a picture of them at the beginning. And these guys all look like, they look like thugs. They look like hardened people. They look really unhappy and angry. After 30 days of laughing, then they took pictures and they had changed. It's like, somebody cared about them. Somebody, somebody cared enough to spend 30 days. And then when you're laughing, like at first it was probably hard. And then after the 30 days of getting connected and, there's just so many
Awesome.
ways for this to help us. Yeah.
I know that's right. I used to get in trouble for laughing so much in class because I can't hold my laugh in, so tears would be coming down. And soon as someone would like touch my leg under the table, I just burst out. And like every time for elementary school and missing the honor roll, it was like an in excessive talking and laughing in class. Always. And my mom was like, you need to be there and pay attention to the teacher. And I was like, I am paying attention. Like, I just, everybody else is laughing too. I just get caught, But I find laughter is just, it's so great, especially when you are around those people that you, like you say, that you feel safe. Those are the best laughs. They are just so deep and just so good where you are just like, no one can even move. And as soon as you hear a little, and it starts all over again, So wonderful. So wonderful. I love it. I love it. Can I ask you, have you found your life purpose?
I absolutely have. I thought that people were given just one purpose, but I feel like I have two purposes. One is putting worms in every living space, every house, every business, every apartment. So we don't need to, and every school that is, so we don't have to truck around the organic matter anymore. And the second one now is laughter. Again, with this time that we're in, we need this more than ever. We do have a global mental health tsunami. And it was here before 2020, by the way. We just need to look at it more now because it's bigger. There's more people affected. And I really want people to care about the planet. But when you're in a mental crisis, you can't care about anything but getting out of that crisis. So laughter. So now now I'm working on bringing the joy, raising the vibration, because when we feel good, we do good.
Yes. And it is like a chain effect as well, when that energy is high and your energy is good. A lot of students come, they say, oh, I'm so tired when they start, when I first come into their lesson. And by the time they leave, they're energized. And I use my energy and share it with them. And we just continue to go. And next thing you know, my energy is up. Their energy is more than what they came in. They're leaving out on a higher note. We laugh all the time in my lessons too. I don't know. They probably think I'm the craziest person, but we crack up. And I feel like if you can't laugh, if there's a place where you're not able to laugh, you're cutting off a piece of your freedom. So I am 100% for the laughter game. Definitely.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Chris. I love that. It really is how you make people feel. Like when you're speaking, of course, it matters what you say, but it matters less what you say than how you make them feel.
So true. So true. Nicely put.
And you were talking about your students being tired. I work with special needs, and I have a Friday club for about 1.5 years now. Every Friday we meet, and it's so beautiful. But often I'll go there and they'll be like, oh, I'm tired. And I'll say, good, let's laugh. Or let's dance, right? I'll throw on a song and then like, let's just move around and get the juices flowing. Because if you're tired, it's because your lymph is pooling. Your lymphatic fluid is pooling and your body doesn't have enough oxygen. So let's get some oxygen in there and you'll get up, you'll get energized.
It's so true. It's so true. And to add to that, change that, they say when you say I am, whatever comes after it is what will be. So we want to feel that people say, I am tired, I am this, and then you really start feeling it more and more. So we want to just change our vocabulary as well to help us feel that, I am energized, or, I have my second wind that's come upon me, or, that way we can as well speak the energy into existence as well as moving our body into
Yes.
it. Yes, nice.
Oh, that's awesome, Chris. Yay. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful.
I love it. I like to ask all my guests this final question. Is your glass half empty or half full?
Oh, my glass is absolutely half full, maybe even more than half full.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. I love that.
I am energized.
Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Everybody's answer is always so different. It's such a fun question to ask at the end because people come up with all kinds of things. So, yes, awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts for our listeners?
I would just love for people to get out of their head. You know, we spend a lot of time in our head roaming around, having conversations with that voice in our head that is never our friend. So I would love for people to get more into their bodies and feel what they're feeling rather than just thinking about what they're feeling.
Nice.
Laughter helps us.
Yes, it is. It is. It's that bridge to help us get there for sure. And you touched upon something. You said a mental health tsunami. Oh, I love that terminology. Wow. That's real deal. I'll be borrowing that. I'll give you credit for it, but wow, that's really nicely put. That is a picture.
Isn't it though? Like, and it's a global, like
Yes, you're right. It's
yeah.
global. It is global.
Yeah. Well, because how do you torture somebody? Isolation. Right? Like when people are in jail, social, what do you call it? Social
Confinement.
Solitary confinement. What have we done? I mean, I not to get into this time that we're in, but we've isolated so many people, and then you're just alone.
So true.
And we're social creatures, right? We really need people.
We are. Definitely. You're right about that. Wow. Thank you, Cathy. Thank you for today and all your amazing information. Can you tell everyone how that they can reach you if they want to find out more about your Laughter Club and Laughter Tuesdays and just to know what's going on with Cathy?
Yes. So my laughter website is cathysclub.com, Cathy with the C. And my worm website is cathyscomposters.com. And I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, even though I don't have a cell phone.
Hey, that's okay.
If I'm on social media, I'm at home.
Yeah. That's so funny. It's like, where you at? Oh, yeah, you're at home. You're at home. Excellent. And I'm going to be posting all of this as well with all of your site information so that people can go in. I'm sure that people will be chipping in to find out, oh, wow, Crawly Composters, like, oh, what's this? So just to find out a little bit more about it, it has been quite amazing. You have opened our eyes about a lot here, and the work that you're doing is just so awesome, Cathy. It really, when about meeting to have you on the show, I was really so moved by what you were doing and then the laughter was something, just the cherry and the icing on top, just to feel like, wow, you're really doing such an amazing work, such a joyous work, and educating people around the world. And I hope that more people will get on to understanding about the worms and the benefits that they will be able to bring for us and how they can change our environment, the role they'll play in waste management, food security, so all of this is so great. And we want you to continue on, keeping doing what you're doing. Not that anyone's going to stop you, but we hope that we can have more people who are just behind you to help you in your journey on this. So thank you so much for today.
Oh, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. And I'm going to post everything. You have a grand and great day.
I will do that. And you too. No, have a nice evening.
Exactly. Have a nice evening. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, Chris.
Bye-bye. And thank you to all our listeners listening in to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform for everyone to share their life experiences. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Levens. Please subscribe, follow, and rate this podcast on Apple Music and Spotify for more learning experiences. Until next time, know you are blessed. See ya.